All right, thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. DStyleBoxing here. Thumbs up the video, support the channel. If you're watching archive, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. The chat will be open. We're going to be talking about the weight classes in boxing. We're going to break it down here. And why I strongly believe we got to get rid of some of these divisions. Okay, we're going to go ahead and break that down. Not only that, I want to give a shout out to Chris Eubank Jr. Just won a little bit ago by a third round stoppage, and good left hook. I did not like the way in the exchange. He did get clipped in the exchange, but not only that, his eyes were closed for a good period of time in that exchange. But it's still a good win, though. It's still a good win. We'll probably critique that later, or we can talk about that and other things because the chat is open. I don't know how long I'll be on here. It just depends on you guys. It depends people on live. It depends on what you guys want to talk about. Okay, and I'll put the when the time comes, I will put the chat up. Okay, so we could all engage here on this Saturday afternoon. I got plans later on tonight. I'll be going to a bar to watch the UFC pay-per-view, and I may or may not come afterwards to cover that. I don't know. I might. Okay, so that's what I got planned tonight. All right. Also, did I say thumbs up the video? Thumbs up the video. Let's talk about these weight classes very, very quickly here. All right? Let's do it. Let's talk about it. Hey, why not? Hey, you know. I tried to do this video last night. Unfortunately, the audio wasn't that good when I went back and listened to it. Okay, so I'm doing it again. All right? That's one of the downfalls. It doesn't always happen of coming on live like I do. But, hey, I got some other stuff planned. I got some other stuff planned for the channel. I'll still continue to do live videos, but two things. Number one, it's going to be about 2 weeks or so before it's official, but I want to have an official time during the week that I come on here, so everybody kind of has a time that you expect me to come on, right? But till then, and even then, hit that notifications button. That way when DStyleBoxing comes on live, you get the notification and boom, all right? You get to join me live and stuff. So that's number one, okay? But yeah, I want to have specific times where everybody kind of expects me to come on. That's number one. I'll still do impromptu stuff. I'll still do post-fight, reaction videos and stuff like that. That is not going anywhere, okay? Just making that very clear. All right, I don't mean to make this video into a public service announcement, but there you go. Lastly, before I continue this video, I've been getting swamped with spam messages from somebody's that are fans of somebody's channel. They're very angry that I did a video response and I played the audio so people don't think I'm just making shit up, right? And I guess this uploader took it extremely personal. He thinks I'm starting to beef with him. All right, that's fine. But yeah, if you're just gonna come to my channel to spam it, then you're gonna get banned. Okay, there's no reason for you to be here. All right. Anyway, that's it. Let's go ahead and talk about the divisions right now. All right, let's go ahead and talk about it. First of all, we have way too many divisions in boxing. Way too many. All right? Way too many. We have way too many divisions. So when I say this, I know it kind of catches people off guard, and I've always said we need a division between 175 and 200. All right? And people will gasp and they say, oh my God, you're adding another fucking division. Like, I get that. But overall, the boxing divisions need reform. And to understand that, you first have to understand the history of the weight classes. How weight classes came out to begin with. So first, we don't have to go way back, but just the original 8 weight classes, right? The original 8. And then from there, they started to put a bunch of weight classes in between, the juniors and the supers and all that. Right? And then we even have a situation that doesn't make sense. So it's understood that the lower you go, the less you separate the weight classes by in terms of pounds. The higher you go, the more pounds you separate it by. However, the problem lies after 147, because after 147, you go to 154. That's a 7-pound differential. And then, but from there, you go to 160. That's a 6-pound differential. What the fuck's going on? Why are we separating it by less pounds now? And then we go to 168. That's 8 pounds. Then we go to 175. That's 7 pounds. Again, doesn't make any sense. Okay, none. So I'm going to share the screen here so you guys can see it for yourselves. So bear with me really quick. That's that. And that is that. There we go. All right. So go ahead and check this out. All right, we'll get to that one in a little bit. These are the weight classes pretty much, all right, in the sport of boxing. All right. In terms of how many participants are in each weight class. Now, I don't know who knows this or not, but the first 5 weight classes, right, when starting from minimum weight, okay, all the way to bantamweight, those first 5 weight classes have the less participants than any of the other weight classes, the first 5. Now, does somebody still want to talk to me about how these weight classes are absolutely necessary because there's so many little guys all over the world and we have to accommodate them? Well, no. The first 5 weight classes from minimum weight to bantamweight have, okay, the fewest participants than any of the other weight classes, okay, in boxing. That's just the reality, right? That's just the reality. That's it. Okay. You really see a big population as far as participant growth once you get to like featherweight and all the way to middleweight. That's the bulk by far of the boxing participants. In fact, lightweight to super welter, all right, those divisions are packed as hell, all right? Those divisions are extremely packed, right? And then there's a little bit of a fall there when you go from middleweight to heavyweight. But even those divisions have more participants than the first 6, all right? That's just the way it is, folks, right? So we have to do something about that, right? So what do we do? So don't tell me there's no room for reform here. Don't tell me there's no room to fix this problem. Now, when you look at this, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So number 1, all right, this is the scale weight. That's what this is. This is scale weight, meaning the day before the fight, about 30 hours before the fight, what they weigh in on the scale. And then they rehydrate, let's say 10 pounds at average, let's say. I don't know the exact average, but we all know most fighters rehydrate, all right? Some even up to 20 pounds. But nonetheless, a welterweight today is really a middleweight. If we still had same day weigh-in, welterweights today would be a middleweight, okay? Lightweights are actually welterweights. So what you're looking at here is, and the point of that is, if you got every human being on earth and made everybody get in shape and in boxing shape, let's say it was required, right? Or you get executed by a tyrannical government. So everybody would start getting in shape and boxing shape. Most people would weigh around, when you look at the average height and the average, ideal weight, and especially, someone who gets in extreme shape, right? That's what you're kind of looking at. You're looking at dudes around the 150s, the 160s, the 170s. That's pretty much, that makes a lot of sense. Right now, with that said, so these are the weight classes. First of all, we don't need a weight class with 281 participants. We just don't need it. It's not necessary at all. We don't need a weight class with 467 participants. It just isn't needed. It just is not needed, folks. We don't need it. It's a waste of our time. We don't need it. We don't need a weight class with 782 participants. It's too little. There's far too few participants. And for years, I've been hearing the narrative, no, you guys are just arrogant and ignorant, and you don't understand. just because Americans don't fight in those weight classes, the world is bigger than America. You don't understand how many little guys there's all over the world boxing. Really? That's not what the data shows. That's not what the data shows at all. And by the way, boxrec.com, that is my source. It's in the screen. All right? If you want to find a better source, go ahead. This is just numbers I'm making up. These are the raw numbers, whether you like it or not. These are the numbers, right? And not only that, there's so few of them on there. They're separated by so little pounds, and it's not. And don't tell me it's for safety. Don't tell me it's for that. That the reality is, well, there's many contributing factors to deaths in boxing, right? Ref neglect and bad commissions, and and added with that obviously is the what do you call it, mismatches. All right, word escaped me there. Mismatches are a big part of why deaths happen in boxing, but another one is dehydration, right? And that's why a lot of deaths happen in the lower weight classes. Not that they don't happen in all weight classes, but a lot of them happen in the lower weight classes because of dehydration. That is just the reality. What's up to the truth in the chat? What's up, bro? All right? That's just the reality. All right? Put aside people's opinions. Are there people that hate the lower weight classes, or not hate, but they just don't watch them, right? Yeah. But that has nothing to do with this reality here. Look at the facts here, right? The fact is the lowest 5 weight classes in terms of weight are the 5 lowest populated divisions. And that's it. That's just the fact. That's just the reality. In fact, let's look at the next graph here, okay? This is the next graph. From minimum weight to bantamweight, that's 5 divisions. 5. There's a total of 3,240 participants in the sport of boxing. That's the total. That is total. Now, the next 4 divisions up to lightweight, that's 4, not 5, 4. It's almost double the amount of participants, 6,154 participants. The next 4 divisions, the next 4, which is 140, 147, 154, and 160, 7,475 participants. Now, the numbers may be off by a couple dozen right now because, I'm sure some dudes turn pro and whatnot. Some people retire. So just to keep that in mind. But this is pretty much, I've tracked it for the last couple of months. It's pretty much the same. And then the next 4, from super middleweight all the way to heavyweight, right? It's 4,909,000, almost 5,000, right? A quarter more practically than the first 5. Now, can you tell me why when DStyle says, hey, we need a division between 175 and 200, that's just too much of a gap there, all right? It's too much of a gap right there. And then I'm told, no, we have too many weight classes. No, we can't do it. We can't do it. It doesn't make sense. There's not enough people to over there to make those, to have guys fight in those weight classes. Really? Are there more in the first 5 weight classes or what? Are there more there? Because obviously that's not the case. That's not what the numbers show. That's just not true. That's just not true. And then they have way too many down there. And by the way, that's 5. Right? From minimum weight to bantamweight, that's 5 weight classes with 3,240. The 400, 909 is 4 weight classes. You could do 5 with that number if you're going to have, 5 with 3,240. I could tell you that right now. They're separated by too little amount of pounds here. Okay, those first 5 is basically a total of 15 pounds. That is absolutely ridiculous, right? It's just ridiculous. AJ 10 says, I think there should be a division between 175 and 200. Black Latin Caesar says, what about the weight classes above 147? Do we need 154 and 168? We can talk about that. The thing is, the whole structure needs to be reformed, the whole thing. All right? We're going to have to move some weight classes, people. Okay, we're going to have to do it. I know. It's boxing has history, and 160 is middleweight. That's it. You can't fuck with history, right? Like, we are stuck with that mentality. We have to make movement here. Now, before that, right? Let me tell you why I'm advocating for a division between 175 and 200. Okay, let me tell you why. Number one, right? Numero uno. It will help stop the culture of overweight boxers, okay, which we see a lot of at the heavyweight and quite a lot, and even in cruiserweight as well. Okay, that's number one. A lot of blown up light heavyweights at cruiserweight, and even some of them at heavyweight. Okay, and a lot of blown up cruiserweights and light heavyweights at heavyweight. Okay, all right. So let me repeat that: a lot of blown up cruiserweights at heavyweight as well. All right, so we have a boxing culture issue right there at a macro level that needs to be addressed. Number two, all right, so let's look at something that was structured just a couple of years ago, and that's the UFC, right? The UFC. Now, the UFC is a different sport to boxing, but it is a combat sport. It also has day before weigh-in. So if we have a model to look at and say, well, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. When we look at that, first of all, right, they have a weight class between 170 and 205. Now, anyone who watches UFC or MMA, I want you to picture this for a moment. Just imagine for a moment that there was no 185-pound division in the UFC. That would basically mean any guy that you watch today at 170 that could no longer make 170 is going to have to move up to 205 and fight guys who cut weight to make 205. That is insane. What's happening right now, you have a bunch of guys who have a hard time making 178 pounds, all right? They have a hard time making 175 pounds, light heavyweight. And then let's say they can no longer make 175. They're struggling to make that weight. You're asking that guy to move to a weight class where now guys who cut weight to make 200 fight him. You're asking a guy who was used to weighing in at 175, right? Then he dehydrates to, let's say, 185. You're asking it to fight someone who cuts weight to make 200 and then rehydrates to like 210, 215. Right? To me, that there is an issue there, especially when you look at the numbers. I don't see why it's that much of an issue. Okay? We can get rid of at least two of those lower weight classes easily to add this one weight class. That can easily be done, right? If it was up to me, we would have 10 weight classes in boxing, and that's it. That's all we would have, right? Too many boxing writers and even boxing fans have romanticized this idea that the lower weight classes is just filled and packed with fighters from all over the world. And, and I'm not saying that they have never produced great fighters, because they have, right? Finito Lopez, that's Ricardo Lopez, El Finito, okay? It's one of my favorite fighters ever, right? He fought in the lower weight classes, right? My favorite fighter of all time is Eric Morales. He fought, he was an extremely great featherweight. Now that's 126, all right? And if you look at featherweight on here, all right, it has 1,487 participants, okay? The more participants you have, all right, it's common sense. Where is it easier to win a world title, especially in an era where you have four weight classes? Four divisions. Whoa, Backtrack. 4 titles. Holy shit. We're just talking about a lot of shit here. You have 4 sanctioning bodies. 4. And sometimes you have a super champ and a regular champ and a champion in recess. And how many types of champions do they have? I mean, the amount of champions that they come up with. All right. Sometimes up to 6 world champions in one weight class. Where is it easier to win a title? At minimum weight or look at welterweight? 2,172 participants. All right. Where is it easier to win? Like if you use your common sense, where is it easier to win a world title? What's more impressive? Winning a world title at 140, where it has 2,000 participants, and another one at welterweight, where you have 1,172, right? Or winning a title at minimum weight with 281 participants, and then your next one at 467. Where is it more impressive? I mean, if you use your common sense, all right? We have way too many divisions down there, and there's not enough. There's no raw number to support it. If I had gone to this, because the only reason I did this, because I kept hearing, no, but you don't understand. There's so many fighters from all over the world down there, right? And then I pull this up, and I'm like, wait. I started looking at the numbers, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not even true. That's not even true. Look, the first 5 weight classes only has 3,240 participants. In fact, if I remove bantamweight, which is over 1,000, okay, the number's even worse with the first 4. I mean, thank God I gave him bantamweight, okay, to help him out, okay. In this graph, it's the only one with 5 weight classes. The other 3 numbers are from 4, right? I mean, this is crazy. If I would have gone 4, 4, 4, and 4, and just left heavyweight aside, this graph would have looked even worse for the first 4 weight classes. It would have been even worse. Okay? It would have been terrible. Just saying. All right? We have way too many divisions down there. Okay? You can easily consolidate at least 2 of those, or like about 3 of those divisions into 1. You can do it. Okay? I don't want to hear this, oh, you don't understand. That those 2 weight classes are everything to them. Like, who do you think you're bullshitting? All right? Like, while it is true that a pound is more significant in the lower weight classes than the higher weight classes, while that is true, okay, there's still no explanation, okay, as to why we're separating it by 3 pounds, okay? That doesn't justify that, okay? How about 5 pounds, all right? How about that? And then we'll go to 6 pounds. And then we broaden it up a little bit as we move up in the weight classes, right? That's what I believe, right? And not only that, the numbers don't support the argument that I've been hearing for years. This is how you know a lot of these writers and even boxing fans are just full of shit when they say things, all right? And the funny part is, like, for a while, I didn't even question it for a while. I was like, all right, to each their own, right? I didn't even question it for a while. And then you actually look into it, and I'm like, wait a minute. No, they actually don't have a lot of participants down there, right? They actually don't. Like, that's just something that was made up. It was just something that was made up. Let's look at some more of these comments really quick. AJ 10 says 185, 186 will be perfect for those guys, referring to the ones that can't make 175 anymore. I agree. That would actually be perfect. Black Lantern Caesar, I'm cool with just featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middle, light heavy, cruiser, and heavyweight. Well, I mean, you're basically going back to the original 8, but that would cut the weight bully bullshit out. Age of 10, fact is, there are a lot of human beings that are under 118 pounds when in shape. Well, AJ10, if you look at these numbers, that's not exactly true. If if we're looking at the numbers here, like Lance Caesar, look at the guy like Errol Spence. He admits over and over that he's not really a welcher, but he wants to stay a welcher because that's where the money is. Plus, he's bigger than everyone else, right? Well, first of all, Errol Spence is in the most populated division out of all of them, right? There's more competition at 147, right? There just is. Okay, now the sheer numbers don't mean everything, right? It just means there's more bodies, okay? But it does explain to us why over the years we've had so many great welterweight fighters. It does explain why we've had a lot of great featherweights and a lot of great lightweights and a lot of, even middleweights and light heavyweights. It explains that when you look at this chart, okay? And it does explain that maybe it's not just that people look at the little guys and say, oh, well, they're little, so I just don't like them. Maybe they just haven't produced as many great fighters because there just isn't a lot of them, all right? And the sheer numbers prove that. This graph proves that. And these numbers are straight out of, okay, the amount of participants that are currently in the sport of boxing as of yesterday anyway, okay? We don't need a minimum weight division, right? We just don't need it. Minimum and light fly, they're gone in my book. Just make flyweight, okay? Make flyweight. I wouldn't make featherweight the cutoff. I do disagree with that, all right? I do. Because then you're creating the same problem that you have after 175, right? Meaning someone who's naturally 115 pounds is going to have to fight someone who cuts weight to make 124 or 126, I'm sorry. And then you're going to have dudes outweighed by 20 pounds in the lower weight classes. That's a big fucking deal, right? That's a big deal in the lower weight classes. A lot of this could be solved if we just went back to same-day weigh-in, but nobody wants to do same-day weigh-ins, okay? But you can do, I would do flyweight, I would keep bantamweight, and then featherweight. And that's it. Like that's all they need. We don't need more weight classes than that. How else do we know that it's not structured correctly? How else do we know? First of all, while we're never going to get it perfect, there is just something wrong with the structure when guys in, like the lowest you start when you turn pro, the higher chances you have to win more world titles, right? Like someone who turns pro at 168, in all reality, they're going to be a 2-division champion, maybe 3-division champion, no matter how great they are. It doesn't matter how great they are, right? Someone who turns pro at 175, they might fight a heavyweight one day, maybe, but they're never going to get more than 2, maybe 3 weight divisions as champion, no matter how good they are. It's just a reality. Someone who starts at minimum weight, right, does not have to jump that much and just doesn't have a lot of competition, okay, especially when you look at this graph, to win a title at minimum weight, at light flyweight, at super flyweight, okay? They could become a 4-division champion, all right? And those weight classes are separated by, what, 12 pounds? I mean, that's crazy. That is nuts to me. That's crazy. We just don't need that many. So let's go over these numbers again, okay? One more time. One more time. From minimum weight to bantamweight, that's 5 divisions, okay? DStyle was told by an uploader on here that, no, you're just arrogant and ignorant, and those weight classes have participants from all over the world. Just because Americans aren't in those divisions in very high numbers doesn't mean nobody's in those divisions, right? Well, apparently nobody's in those divisions, right? 3,240 participants in 5 weight classes. That's it. The next 4 weight classes, not 5, 4, have 6,154 participants. The next 4 after that, which is 140, 147, 154, and 160, have 7,475. And that's 4, by the way, not 5, 4. And the next 4 have 4,909, almost 5,000, right? Yet everybody wants to tell me, no. We can't do a division between 175 and 200. No, we can't do that. There's not enough bodies there. There's not enough participants. Really? Are you kidding me? When you look at the first 5? The first 5 divisions are the least populated divisions in the entire sport, right? And like in order too, practically. Like when you really look at it, right? Minimum weight is 281. That's the lowest. The second lowest is light flyweight. The third lowest is super flyweight. The fourth lowest is flyweight. And then the fifth lowest is bantamweight. After that, light heavyweight is the lowest, right? But there can be 5 divisions with less participants. And then people tell me, no, but we just can't have that many there. In all honesty, just picture the scenarios here. We need a division there, and I provided not only the sheer numbers here, right, but also if you want to call it a cousin to the sport of boxing, which is MMA, they have a weight class at 185 between 170 and 205. Could you just imagine, all right, Tyron Woodley struggling to make 170, so he has to move up to fight at 205. Could you just imagine that? And then he has to fight like a Daniel Cormier who cuts weight to make 205. Nah, man, right? So there's that. We have the UFC example. We have the sheer number example. And also my third argument is culture, right? We need to eliminate the overweight boxers culture in those weight classes, right? We need another weight class between there so we don't have a bunch of fat cruiserweights walking around, right? And that's just that. Cool? So for Jose Suleiman over there and for WBC and for anyone who's all pro, let's totally make a super heavyweight division. We don't need a super heavyweight division. Okay, first of all, look at heavyweight, right? Heavyweight is anything above 200, okay? Anything above 200 is heavyweight. Where are you going to cut it off, first of all? Where? 230? Where? And you're just going to create a bunch of fat heavyweights, okay, fighting that super heavyweight. That's all you're going to do, right? We can't find enough opponents for these guys as it is now, right? We just can't. It's heavyweight is filled with a bunch of overweight cruiserweights as it is, right? That's just the reality. So anyway, let's read some of these comments really quick. DCB, what's up, bro? I like the old school weight system, bro. That makes the most sense to me. Who need to see guys trying to make 106 pounds? That's dangerous and unnecessary. I agree with 106, but I think you could have a weight class like at maybe 112 or something, and then go to, something like that, and then maybe 118 or something like that, and then go up from there. But overall, we obviously don't need a bunch of those weight classes, right? AJ 10 agrees. There are not many people who naturally weigh 105 pounds or 108 pounds, even for women. I mean, yeah, like think about that. Have you ever seen a woman that's like 108 pounds? They're like a fucking stick. All right? Like, it's crazy. All right. Great Drank 666. What type of grown-ass man weighs 106 pounds? Get rid of that division. Man in water. What's the problem, though? Some guys are tiny. Should they do fight guys bigger than them? Well, look, a man in water, I'm not saying that. Like I said, the problem is not that someone's not allowed to be tiny. Okay, the problem is that that we have way too many weight classes down there. That's the problem. Okay, number one, it's dangerous. Okay, dehydration in lower weight classes is a big issue in boxing, right? And not only that, the sheer numbers just don't prove to me that there's this big excess amount of boxers that want to participate in boxing that are little tiny men. Like that just doesn't exist. And if you look at the numbers, it's just not the case. It just isn't the case. And the other issues, the accolades, right? Like we keep hearing, oh, this guy was a 4-division champion. Like, and I'm just like, okay. Well, the weight classes weren't separated by much. That's one. Second, there's not that much competition down there. That's just a reality. All right, Man in Water does not want a super heavyweight division. Well, I agree with that. Man in Water, should they move cruiserweight to 210 and make a new division at 190? I guess that's a possibility. I mean, I guess you could do that. I think keep cruiserweight at 200. I guess you could bump up cruiserweight a little bit. I guess it's not a bad idea, but we'll see. Back then, Caesar, I agree. These about 105, 108, 112, 115. Why? Horse jockey's way more than that. Well, keep in mind that's the day before weigh-in, and they do balloon up and weight a little bit. Okay, maybe just 5-6 pounds, but they do balloon up in weight. AJ 10 thinks 112 should beat the cutoff in his opinion. That sounds about right in my opinion. AJ 10, I would balance out the numbers having the divisions with average of 1,000 plus participants. All right, well, that's going to be very hard to do. Naturally, the weight class between lightweight and welter are going to have the bulk of the talent because, again, when you look at the average human height and the average ideal weight of human beings when they're in great shape, okay, that's pretty much what you get, okay, a vast majority of participants. Black Latitude says, these guys, what's the point of having 4 weight classes that are separated by 2 pounds? Come on, man. I don't know if any are separated by 2, but 3 pounds, but points valid. None 3 pounds is still too little. It's far too little. That is crazy. And why separate them by just 3 pounds for so long too? It just doesn't make sense. The weight classes are so out of whack. It's not even funny. Okay, they got to do something about it, right? They got to do something about the weight classes. And since the WBC and Suleiman and all them are looking into it and wanted to reform it and add a super, like, since they're so concerned about, you know, the sport of boxing and all that, since it's a concern that they have, then by all means, okay? For those just coming in, this is a graph of all the weight classes and the number of participants. My source is boxrec.com, as seen on the bottom there. You know, people use BoxRec for all types of reasons, but apparently, you know, they never thought of this one. But anyway, for years, DStyleBoxing has been hearing that the lower weight classes, and by lower, by the way, let me say this before I continue. It's funny how when you say the lower weight classes, to some people that might be lightweight, you know, like to some people it might be featherweight. But just for the purpose of this video, I'm talking about minimum weight and flyweight and light flyweight. That's what I'm talking about, okay? For years, DStyleBoxing has been told, oh yeah, I mean, we need to have a lot of divisions down there because this is a worldwide sport, and there's guys from all over the world, from China and Japan. They're all so little, and we just need to, and don't be discriminative towards them. Those divisions have a lot of participants in them. You're just a bunch of ignorant boxing fans. And well, and then I pull up the numbers, and it's not even the case. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I should have probably already known this. All right? But all bullshit aside, like all bullshit aside, I was not expecting 281 participants for a weight class in the sport of boxing. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting flyweight to have 782. I just wasn't. I thought at least over 1,000. Come on, you know, it's at least. Well, there you go. All right, but there you go. There you go. Let's bring up the. Let me bring up the chat really quick. For those uploaders watching, there we go. All right. For the uploaders watching over there, this is how DStyle does it, in case you're wondering, by the way. Okay. I pop out the chat this way. So there you go. Right. Voila. All right. That's how DStyle does. I had a, like, how do you do it? Like there it is. That's how you do it. Cool. All right, guys. What else? What are the comments do we have on here? What are the comments do we got? All right. Smaller weight classes should be separated by 6-8 pounds, says Grape Drank 666. You know, when we can sit down and have a serious conversation about this, and it could be scientifically proven that we have to, like, you know, we need to get, no, let me rephrase that. We need to get reform in order, but we need to make sense of it, like scientifically speaking, okay? And we have to create weight classes where it makes sense for the bulk of the participants in it, okay? We shouldn't have, okay, we just shouldn't have, all right? So many participants in boxing, okay? The first 5 weight classes, okay, 5 belts up for grabs for that many amount of participants, right? Like, we just shouldn't. And if you look at the last 4, by the way, or at least the next 4 after that, which is the 3,240, that's 5 divisions, okay? The next one up to lightweight, that's 4 divisions. It's harder to move up from featherweight to lightweight. It's just harder. Not only is there more competition, right? They're separated by more pounds. And it's even harder to go from 140 to middleweight. Those are 4 weight classes. That's fucking hard. How often do you see somebody go from 140 to middleweight? How often do you see that? Right? See, that's just crazy. To go from super middleweight to heavyweight, that's even harder, right? Who's done that? Freaking Roy Jones, that's it. Roy Jones actually started at 160, but still. If Roy Jones Jr., and I understand he's not your average fighter, I understand Roberto Duran isn't your average fighter, I get that, okay? Yeah, you have to be a special fighter to win multiple weight classes, all right? And that's my point. We don't need dudes winning multiple weight classes because they're separated by 3 pounds. But Roy Jones doing it at 160, right? From 160 all the way to heavyweight is impressive. Now, Roy Jones never won a cruiserweight title, but nonetheless, right? That is impressive. That is far more impressive, I'm sorry, than winning from bantamweight to flyweight. Like, you're separated by 10 pounds in total or whatever, okay? Like, give me a fucking break, right? Seriously. I'm just saying, all right? Don't get all mad. Don't get all mad. Bring up the chat. 126, 118, and 110 will be ideal, Great Train. That sounds pretty good, actually. That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. You will have about just short of 1,000 participants up to 110, but it's still a respectable number, right? 118 would have, I mean, pretty good. I mean, you're talking about 1,500 or so participants, solid. And 126, I mean, obviously featherweight's already one of the most populated divisions. So there you go. I mean, that makes, see, that's good. We should get Great Dragon in the panel whenever they get this shit done, right? Can anyone in the chat name all the minimum weight and light flyweight champions without BoxRec? Can anybody do it? Well, the thing is, not a lot of people know, okay? Not a lot of people know. There are people that know, in fairness. I do know a lot of boxing nerds out there that follow every division to the T. I do. But I got to be 100% honest with you. I've very rarely sat down and watched a minimum weight division fight, okay? I have before, but it's very rare. It's extremely rare, right? And that's just the truth. In the United States, you know, lightweight used to be considered, I mean, low, right? For those that don't understand. That's where the saying, okay, the saying, you know the saying, have you ever gone drinking with your buddies, you fucking lightweight, okay? Because you can't hang with the heavyweights. You know, where do you think that saying comes from? Okay, and that's a lightweight, okay? In this country, in the U.S., I can't speak about the U.K. Someone who grew up in the U.K. would know better, okay? But in the U.S., right, it wasn't until Prince Nassim Hamed that HBO, which was the boxing powerhouse, opened its doors to 126. Now, me, I had been watching 126 pounds a lot. Like, I grew up watching a lot of featherweight fights, okay? Featherweight especially. I grew up watching featherweight fights a lot, like around 126, right? And if you look at the sheer numbers, so we'll go back to that, okay? Featherweight right now has 1,487 participants, almost 5,500, okay? And south of that is a division with over 1,000. North of that is a division with over 1,000. So around those divisions, they were always packed, right? And when somebody says the lower weight classes, or they throw at me like that idiot over there, who will go Mr. X, he'll go unnamed. When they throw at me, you're a Mexican, why don't you watch the Mexicans? Like, yeah, a lot of Mexican greats fought around. Yes, there are some from bantamweight, but mostly featherweight. Featherweight, like 130, 126, okay? Super bantamweight even. But when it comes to minimum weight, flyweight, I'm not saying there's no Mexican fighters there, but those were never the big names. Aside from Finito Lopez, all right, who people want to compare Chocolatito to, which is insane to me. But aside from that, I'm not saying there wasn't, but when you look at the greats, when you look at Chavez, Julio Cesar Chavez, right? That's 130, 135, 140, okay? When you look at Eric Morales, that's 126, okay, and 130. When you look at Juan Manuel Marquez from 126 to 135, you know, he knocked out Pacquiao. I think that was a catchweight, I believe, a welterweight catchweight fight. But nonetheless, right, when you look at the Mexican greats, that's where they are, right? And Mexican Americans, okay, Oscar De La Hoya started at 130, very young though, and then he was a career welterweight, okay? Cabrajal, when you look at and La Vida Loca, what's his name again? From Albuquerque. I can't believe his name escaped me. La Vida Loca, man. Like, I forgot his name. Watched him a lot, too, as a kid. He's from Albuquerque. But anyway, the name escaped me. I'm going through a lot of names right now. But those guys weren't in the minimum weights and all that. It's just not true. There's not enough bodies there for you to tell me this. Right? There just isn't enough bodies. All right? Where are the bodies? DStyle wants to see the bodies. That's what I'm asking for. Why can't I remember the name, man? Did anybody get the name without BoxRec? No? Kevin Kelly versus Manny would have been a classic. Hey, that's a damn good fight, man. Holy shit. It's a damn good fight. I think Manny would win, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Who wins that fight? I have no idea. But anyway, Nassim Hamed is the reason they opened the doors for 126. Okay? So just think about that. And that was considered low. And I got to be honest, too. Right? In boxing, we have ourselves in this little bubble, right? We put ourselves in a bubble where we're just kind of in tune to ourselves, and what happens is we don't even realize what we're watching. So what I mean by that is, I remember when I watched it was a featherweight fight with a friend of mine, and the first thing that came out of her mouth was, "Oh my God, they look so cute. They look like little kids." Right? I just sat there and I'm like, and my instinct was, oh, you know they could fucking fight, right? You know they'll fucking knock you out. But like, I didn't say that, but because you know you want to defend boxing or whatever, you know. But she didn't mean anything bad by it. But it's like, oh my God, they're so cute. They look like little kids, you know. Just and well, it's just not normal to see someone that small in a sport. Like, think about it. I mean, how much do jockeys weigh? I don't know what jockeys weigh, right? Does anybody know? I know somebody mentioned earlier, all the jockeys. They don't even weigh that much. Is that true? Or like, how much do they weigh? But aside from jockeys, how like people don't really look at the jockeys. They're looking at the horse, right? When they watch races, when they watch football, when they watch basketball, when they watch tennis, whatever sport it is, they're not used to watching these little dudes. Boxing is one of the few sports, along with wrestling and MMA and other combat sports, right, that incorporates weight classes, right, for little dudes can have their own competitive, atmosphere down there, right? It's one of the only sports that does that, and very few sports do that. So people aren't used to that, you know. Like, could you imagine if there was like weight classes in the NFL? Oh yeah, NFL, we're gonna create a league where you can't weigh more than 120 pounds to play in our league. Well, number one, you're not going to have a lot of participants in that league, right? Like, you're not. Like, be honest, you're just not. And nobody's going to say, oh yeah, you got to respect pound for pound. They're better than like that. That's just something that we talk about in boxing, right? Like, they don't do it in other weight classes, but just throwing that out there. Joe Lopez, 40 ounce. I don't really consider horse racing a sport or jockeys an athlete. Wow. Man, Joe Lopez, 40 ounce, ain't holding back. Like, fuck those like jockeys. So NASCAR dudes aren't athletes? Now, I've seen those dudes pop out of cars with guts and shit. They're all calling them athletes. All right. AJ 10, imagine an under 6 feet basketball league. Man, I don't ever say would be the king, man. Like, he'd be unstoppable. Like, literally. What's that dude? I think he played for the Hornets. I forgot his name, man. I'm just forgetting names today. What the fuck's going on? I'm forgetting names. Yeah, we don't do that in other sports. Okay? Mung Zibo. There you go. Right? He'd be the, what do they call it? Height to height king in the sport of basketball? Is it height to height? That dude was 5'3". I honestly thought he was like maybe 5'10" or something, but he just looked so small compared to those tall motherfuckers. Was he really 5'3"? You shitting me? Holy shit. Holy crap. That is insane, man. Johnny Tapia. There we go. Johnny Tapia. I couldn't believe I forgot that name. Remembering fights, and I remembered his freaking nickname, where he's from. Like, I couldn't remember the name. Anyway, yeah, there you go. 5'3". If it's on Wikipedia, it's true. If it's on Wikipedia, it's true. All right. I mean, even if we say Wikipedia is exaggerating, it was 5'4". Like, like what? Dude, 5'3" is short. Period. Like, that's short. Period. Right. That is short. That's how tall my mom is, and she's fucking short. Right. That is short as it is. I mean, how the hell is this dude playing in the NBA? That's some impressive shit, right? That is as impressive as it gets. Okay, if this dude played in the NBA, right, there's no reason dudes can't move up more than 3 pounds, okay, to fight another weight class in boxing. Okay, and I'm just saying, before I hear, it's unfair. This dude was 5'3" and played in the NBA. Okay. Guillermo Rigondeaux is taller. Well, I mean, a lot of people are taller than 5'3", right? Like, who's not taller than 5'3"? Shoot the ball, you fucking midget, MJ. Did he say that? Damn. Man, did they have to, like, holy shit. Oh, man. I swear to God, I thought, like, I knew he was short. I thought he was like 5'7" or something, 5'8". Like, I just thought, that's what I thought. He just looked that small, But then I'm like, holy shit. Because when you watch basketball, like, I remember I was watching a game. This is side note. I don't watch basketball like that. Or, I've been watching a little more lately. But I haven't watched, like, I watched it like in the 90s, but I was a kid. Okay. I was like this big MJ fan. Like, what the fuck did I know about basketball? And then I kind of stopped watching it, and then I started watching it a little bit. But anyway, like, you'll see some of these dudes, man. Like, you'll see, like, what was his name? Steve Nash, right? Like, you'll see him on TV, and compared to the other basketball players, he doesn't look that tall. And then they interview him after the game, and he's like towering over like the reporter. I'm just like, holy shit! Well, how tall is this guy? Are you shitting me? He didn't look that tall. He's 6'1". Steve Nash is 6'3" or 6'1". Oh, okay. Oh, you said 6'1" to look short compared to 7 foot. Steve Nash is 6'3". And I'm not saying he looks short, but I'm just saying he looks like an average height dude in the court. Like, you don't realize how tall he is till someone conducts an interview with him. Where the reporter has to, like, reach up, so they can talk. I'm just saying. I can't believe that dude was 5'3". That's insane. I guess you learn something new every day. Wow, wow, wow. All right, you guys got any questions regarding anything before DStyle heads out of here? Any questions? Where are those height class argument guys? No, I don't think there's any height argument guys, but I was speaking in, I don't know if that's what you mean, but I was speaking in, could you imagine if they had height classes in boxing, or in basketball, a 6'5" league and a 6 foot league, and, a minimum height league, which would be like anyone 5'1" or shorter, like they do with boxing gloves, like different sizes for the gloves. They would have like different basketball sizes. Like it's. Yeah. Who do you have winning, Rigo or Lomachenko? Asked Joe Lopez 40 ounce. AJ 10 has got Lomachenko. I got Lomachenko. I got Lomachenko winning that fight. I think it's a little risky, the fight, but there's a lot of X factors there. But I got Lomachenko winning that fight. I'm looking forward to the fight, though. I don't know if it's going to be everybody's type of fight. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be pleasing to watch for some people, but it's going to be a lot of skill on display. I'll say that. All right, guys, I got to go soon, so shoot me any questions before I got to roll. If that is all, I'm going to roll, guys. So going once, going twice. I'll wait about another minute here while I look at some stuff here. Great Trank 666. I don't think size will matter much because Rigo is used to fighting much bigger men. The question is he used to fighting much bigger men that are this good? That's the question. And I am a firm believer that Lomachenko is a phenomenal fighter. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people have jumped on his bandwagon in recent years. But let me remind people of this. When Lomachenko was fighting in the Olympics, right, in my old channel, I was covering Vasyl Lomachenko, right? And before he made his professional debut, I covered Lomachenko. And none of these other people were talking about Lomachenko. And then all of a sudden, recently, they've jumped on his nuts. They're starting to call him the best pound for pound, when even Lomachenko himself says he's not the best pound for pound. So what are you going to do? AJ 10, which fighter would have dominated the 185-pound division if it had existed for the past 30 years? Wow. Holy shit. Well, number one, I don't know who would have dominated. I think James Toney would have fought in that division for sure. And to be honest with you, it might have kept James Toney in shape a little longer. Because after 175, he had no reason to stay in shape, right? He had to jump to 200 at that point. Like, fuck it. He needed some mass, and I don't mean muscle mass, to fight guys like that. So James Toney comes to mind. Roy Jones, I believe, would have definitely fought in that division. He comes to mind. So Roy Jones and James Toney stick out. Tarver would have fought in that division for sure. Tarver was a big 175-pounder. He could have used an 185-pound division. I'm thinking here, but I think you see guys like Kovalev move up and fight at 185. I think. But as far as to answer the question, who would have dominated and all that, I think Roy Jones and James Toney comes to mind. I mean, I would have to think about it a little more than that, but I mean, you also have guys like Eubank, and there's a lot of great names out there, but James Toney specifically and Roy Jones come to mind. Not surprised Roy Jones never went for the cruiserweight title, to be honest with you. I mean, Roy Jones could have easily beaten a cruiserweight champion, in my opinion, right before he moved up to fight John Ruiz. And it would have made sense to fight at 200 before fighting John Ruiz. So hindsight's 20/20, but those two guys stand out. In fact, Roy Jones would have, I mean, just think about it. In the case of Roy Jones, Tarver, like Tarver gained weight to make the movie. Roy Jones went up to fight John Ruiz. For 175 pounders that want to put on muscle mass and go up and fight bigger men, having that weight class in between would have helped. It would have helped a lot. Not only in moving up, but when they want to move back down, right? When they want to move back down, it would have helped. Yeah, James Toney would have slowed down on the Burger King. Yeah, at least for another 2-3 years, right? I mean, at least. Now, would he have moved up and fought Holyfield and all that? Who knows? But James Toney honestly comes to mind. Red Fox, in order for a reform to take place, day before weigh-ins may have to be removed. And motherfuckers got to fight at their actual weight class. I agree. I've been saying that for years. But I definitely agree. The human being is not made to weigh in on the dot on the scale. It's not a healthy process, making weight. Now, you still got to make weight, of course, but if you bring back same day, like everybody assumes that if you bring back same day weigh-in, like everybody's going to start falling apart and start dying, and people are still going to be making the 20-pound weight cuts. They're not going to be doing that anymore, right? They're not going to want to be a dead man walking into the ring, right? More fighters will be fighting at their natural weight class. And to your point, Red Fox, it's not like it hasn't already been done. It's one thing if this was just a theory, right? Like I'm just theorizing with logic and common sense, but it's not just that. It's been done before, right? I would have loved to see heavyweight Tony versus Roy Jones. Wow, that would have been interesting. Very interesting. Red Fox, yeah, as long as they're fighting at weights, they should be okay on the day. There you go. I agree. But you of course need to have less weight classes for that, because it's not normal to have weight classes separated by 3 pounds. You know, it's just not a normal thing. That will not work in a same-day weigh-in structure. Grape Drag 66, I like the IBF rule where you cannot weigh in over 10 pounds the day of the fight. That's a good rule. I mean, what are you going to do? But, yeah. Might as well just go with same-day weigh-ins, in my opinion. But hey, what are you going to do? All right, guys. Thanks again for joining me here. It's always great to come on here and interact with you guys. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, for those that are coming in late, I am planning on, I'm still going to be doing impromptu videos like this, but having a set time where I will come on and talk boxing and all that, so that's in the works. I'll know in about 2 weeks when that will be, so to give you guys the time and all that. And I'm even thinking of incorporating somehow, I got to figure it out first, but incorporating Blog Talk Radio with the Hangouts for this set time, so you guys can actually call in. Okay, so it'd be basically like a podcast, and but I need to make sure that the audience can hear the caller and myself, right? So that's definitely that won't be for a while, but we'll have a set time at least for about 2 weeks. Okay, and then. And of course, I'll still have like the chat up the way I do now and stuff like that. And there you go. I kind of like doing this just because, you know, you can see the chat, because the chat disappears when I end the video and then nobody sees it anymore, right? Like it's not in the comment sections. Like all this interaction isn't there. So that's why I like showing the chat when I do these live hangouts as I do. If you came in late, remember you could always come back, listen to the video on archive. All right. For those listening now, don't forget to thumbs up the video. All right, support the channel. This is DStyleBoxing, and I'm out of here. Peace.